The expectation is just you're going to be able to do more. You're going to be able to do a lot more. So I don't know, like I just feel, everyone's going to have to start thinking bigger about what they're doing.
Mhm.
So if you're a data analyst, you're going to have to start thinking much bigger about about what you're doing. I mean, you're going to have to start be building apps to build applications, build AI applications that get a lot more data that you then have to manage. There's going to be more data to manage in that case. Like everything's going to be bigger, 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 and so you're going to have to start thinking like that, I think, and start working towards that. I mean, we know for a fact that there's always like multiple times more you could be analyzing, that you could be
Right. Right.
managing from a data perspective. And I would say it's the same from any technological perspective in an organization. Every time, I mean, it's been a while now, but every time I was in an organization, there was always like so many things that you could do from a technical point of view or an IT point of view that you could never get to because you never had the resources, right? So much more of that is now achievable, and so many more people can be involved in actually making that a reality. Everyone's going to have to think bigger, go bigger, be bigger, um, because you can. That's what I think.
I mean, it's really interesting in the sense that, we've talked about kind of how everybody has become a manager, and that
Yeah.
you're managing this team of AIs, but in a sense, what it had always been before was you've got this group of models and you would work with this model and then you take it back and then you'd work with this model, for this test. And now it's like it was really metaphorical in the sense that they weren't different entities, they were just different versions of the same box you were talking to. And
Yeah.
now it's literally a bunch of boxes
Yeah.
um, that can then go out in the world themselves. And so I think it really becomes a lot like, in a sense, almost like a conference call where you're on with a bunch of team members, scattered remotely, around the world or the country, and you're talking to everybody at the same time.
Yeah. 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 I mean, it is. And look, I think as an individual, you're only restricted. Like, there's going to come a time like at the moment, it's only sort of for me, it's only this coding aspect, right? But there's going to be a time where the only restriction is how much stuff you can think of doing. Like, it's not
Right.
actually going to be physically you actually sitting there typing, it's just going to be you thinking and talking, and then the AI agents are going to go off and do it. I mean, that's kind of like what I'm doing right now. Like, that is what I'm doing from an app development perspective, what I've been doing for the last 10 days since I sort of started doing this. And so, I think that's what it's going to come to. It's just you're going to be just thinking you need this, thinking and then saying it, and then you're going to. And this is what you need to build for. Like if you want to create something valuable, this is where you need to slot in. You need to actually build this. Like that's what I'm. I mean, that's just what I'm all like it day and night. That's all I'm thinking about right now. Is that how can you build something that fits into what people are going to be using that enables that to happen, enables that to actually happen. It's certainly not easy. I don't even know how to build some of this stuff, but that's what you got to become. Like I just don't think you've got a choice. I don't think you've got a choice. Like even if these amazing tools that we've been using, if even if ChatGPT, unless they go agentic, unless you go agentic and you have these AI agents running lots of things, I think you're gonna be toast. You're not gonna survive in the next year or two because that's what's coming. That's what everyone's going to be building towards, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's
I
the
mean,
same.
it becomes interesting to see if you get kind of the equivalent of AI middle managers that you have at some point more agents than you can deal with. And so
Yeah.
do you have AIs that are trained basically to manage agents?
Yeah. The other insight I had, it was bringing some of our historic thoughts about Copilot, and I was listening to a Bloomberg interview on YouTube with the Salesforce CEO, Mark Benioff.
Mhm.
So what he's done, he's a master salesperson, by the way, and I think most of what he talks about is just most of what he says is just complete BS. I don't think it's actually reality. But anyway, everyone's trying to stake their they're all trying to position themselves in this AI wave, right? They're trying to say where they are at, and then as soon as they catch up, they will they can say that they were the first there or they were always there. So
Right.
his strategy, right, with Salesforce, he believes in agent force. He believes in creating digital workers, right? And that's how he's positioning Salesforce, digital workers. Whilst Microsoft is positioning Copilot. And if you think about those two things, those two concepts, they're actually very different. They're very,
Mm,
very different. He's saying his future is just spin up AI to agents, right? Just spin up AI agents, digital workers, and multiply yourself 10 times. Microsoft have come up with a strategy that they think everything's in combination with the human. And it's kind of interesting. Like I I actually think that in the future, Copilot is going to be seen as silly, potentially, because that is just an overlay on a tool which isn't agentic. It's just that their historic tools are actually holding them back from becoming full on, here's how you spin up five AI agents to go and do this. And look, they don't have a choice. I guess they have to do that based on what they've historically, their historical business. But I think Copilot's not going to be the strategy that works out. I actually don't, unless they're somehow going to build this agentic thing in behind it. Now, I don't know. I don't think it's going to. I don't think it's going to succeed. I don't know. Well, like they're so big and powerful. Maybe it will, but I don't know. Just in recent weeks after and sort of hearing these anecdotes and stuff, I think the positioning of Copilot is not actually the future. It is actually more this digital worker type thing. Is sort of more the play. Is going to be the winner. It's going to be the winning concept at the end of the day.
I mean, it's interesting because I kind of came at it from a little bit different standpoint this week, which I had kind of the Power BI is dead man walking post, and
Yeah.
my thinking in that was that we've been in this 10-year period where the whole focus has been making things low code, no code. And
Yeah.
that was because humans were better at clicking on stuff than coding stuff.
Yeah.
And the average human. And now it's completely reversed that AI is so good at coding and really bad at clicking on stuff. And
Mm.
so the stuff that's built around low code, no code is kind of it's just not what you need now. And
Yeah.
it's a horse in a Ferrari world. And um, that it's really interesting because I was talking to a guy named Auntie Rask who does a lot of stuff with ggplot2. He's writing a book on the extensions, and ggplot2 is now hitting is turning 18. And normally when software is 18 years old, you kind of look at it as probably on its last legs, or else just a freak like Excel, that just is going to live forever.
Mm.
Um, but I was talking to him about the fact that in some weird way, this 18-year-old software is kind of coming into its own. I think is going to, generate a lot of activity and a lot of interest because it's all code. And the thing is you can do anything with it from a visualization standpoint. And
Mm.
AI is great at writing it. And so all of a sudden you've got this thing that was kind of viewed as too difficult and not really in sync with Power BI and Tableau and these other things that were much more interactive. And all of a sudden now it's like sitting on prime real estate. And it's kind of like, it's not the same thing as the agent argument, but it's this idea that I think the kind of the landscape has really shifted. And what was what was kind of front running is now, I think way behind.
Yeah. Nice post, by the way. Nice post.
Thanks.
And good on you for having the guts to say that on LinkedIn as well. Not easy as I discovered earlier this year when I went off on Fabric. But Look, I mean, you're exactly right from what I'm saying. You're exactly right from what I'm saying. Unless you can turn your software agentic, you've got no chance of surviving long term over the next couple of years. Because the other way is just so superior. It's so superior. It's unbelievable. Um, look, it's in it. Look, it's so new. It's so new. It doesn't exist in every vertical at the market at the moment. But um, when you start spinning up these agents, and I'm sure this is the direction that these like Claude and ChatGPT will try to go, right? Like you'll be able to connect your database via MCP. You'll be able to ask a question, then you'll then be able to go ask the next question, then you'll be able to go ask the next question. I mean, ChatGPT already has this with Codex, by the way. Um,
Right. Right.
so, but it's going to be more
And
like
Google
a,
just released their CLI.
yep,
Did you see
that's
that?
right. Yep, I did, yep. And so. Look, unless you can go this way, I just the only issue I have with it is where's the value? Okay, so yes, ggplot is going to become more popular, but it's isn't it? It's open source. So like, how are they going to charge for it? How are they going to charge an AI agent to go in and just code it up when the AIs probably even know the code already? So like, so I agree with you. I agree with you, but how are these guys going to make any money? I'm not sure. I'm not sure at the moment. I mean, there's this potential of microtransactions and things like that, and maybe that's a huge market. I don't know. Maybe instead of paying a Power BI subscription, maybe businesses might be paying cents every time the AI agent goes and queries some system that brings back really fancy visualizations or something. So that's an unknown to me. I don't know. I don't know, but it's probably directionally correct. Like it's probably where it might be going. So I don't know.
I mean, I think that's right. I mean, if you look at kind of after I did that post, I got a ton of responses from either companies or people who'd been already using different products that are kind of trying to stake out that claim in the analytics visual space.
Yeah,
And there were a bunch of them I hadn't even heard of that I'm kind of in the process of investigating. But it's exactly right that I think the microtransaction, and it's really funny because I just um right before this call, I was on basically buying 2,000 tokens of a new speech speech to text API,
right.
that does some new things in terms of diarization and identifying speakers automatically.
Yeah,
And I just bought, as I say, I bought a few dollars worth of 2,000 tokens for like $6.
yeah.
And I think that is going to become really, really common.